Hey everybody, it's Matt. Welcome back to Bank Shot. I'm up on video now, so this is something I'll make sure I'm doing going forward. Hopefully you guys are cool with that. So this video particularly is something I've been really looking forward to back when not that long ago, a couple weeks ago, when I first started the channel, thinking about things that I wanted to accomplish with the channel. It wasn't just going to be pack openings and talking about the ins and outs of Top Shot and talking about prices and marketplace and things like that. I wanted to make sure I could get a chance to talk to some of the people who were kind of the OGs of Top Shot and some of the people behind some of the tools that I found really interesting. So we're going to kick that off today. Part one of my talk with Steve, aka Veerman, aka the man behind Intangible Marketplace. We're going to talk about a few things in this first part. We're going to talk about the early days of Top Shot, his favorite NBA team, and a few more things. So super exciting. But before we get into that, I want to take a minute and talk about the giveaway challenge that I posted on my Twitter. That's at BankshotNFT. Put that out yesterday on my Twitter. Just wanted to see if we can do something fun to get some subscribers on the YouTube channel. So I put it out there. We're going to start. If I can hit 25 subscribers within the month of February, and as of right now, we're already at 20, so this should be easy. I'm going to give out a Top Shot moment to the winner of a giveaway challenge on Twitter. So it'll involve a retweet or something on my Twitter, so you'll have to follow that. But the first one's going to be a Fred VanVleet giveaway, a three-pointer, serial number 10229. So it's a high serial number, but Fred VanVleet just went off for 52 points tonight. I think it was 52. That's the last time I checked. So that's an awesome way to kick off a giveaway. If we hit 50 subscribers on the channel this month, we're going to follow it up with a Will Barton dunk. 100 subscribers, we've got a John Wall dunk. And if we hit 500 subscribers within the month of February, I'm going to give away a Jaylen Brown jump shot with a serial number of 1762. That's a really, decently low serial number. So pretty exciting. So I need you guys, if you're checking out this video or if you've seen any of my previous videos and you like the channel and you want to keep up to date and you want to make sure I kick off a lot of these giveaways, please make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you know when we put more videos out there. Leave some comments below. I love when everyone leaves comments. I can get back to you in the comment section. So again, appreciate your time. Subscribe, and let's get right to it. Hey everybody, I'm here with Steve from Intangible.market. Is that the preferred name for it? Intangible.market or just
Is there
Intangible
another? Is
Market?
there another one?
I don't know. I have to ask you.
An intangible market. That's the name. It's. I
Okay.
mean, it is what it is. It was a name that described what it is. You
Okay.
know,
Well,
nothing fun.
those are the best names. You
Yeah,
really right.
you can't get it
Um,
wrong. It's not Google. It's not like something creative.
Yeah, I'm not the most creative person either. I just want to say, thanks for taking the time to jump on with me today and answering a couple questions. And I just want to say, I guess first off, from day one, learning about NBA Top Shot, jumping on their site, quickly figuring out that their site isn't always live and that it redirects you to a Discord, which again was something that I've maybe used once or twice before, but wasn't a big thing for me. So that was new as well. But seeing people post about your site within probably legit 3 minutes of me being on the Discord channel, and me clicking that link and being like, oh, wow, whoa, this is cool. Like, how does this already exist? This is how my mind works. I'm just so new to these things. Is wait, isn't this a brand new site? How is there already a site like this connected to it? So before we even like dig into the site and talk about it, I just want to know, how did you first hear about Top NBA Top Shot? Was it, how did you hear about it? And then when was that? I'm assuming sometime last year. When did you join?
Yeah. Okay. Great question. I guess you can say I found out about the CryptoKitties team long before Top Shot, and
Okay.
so I was at an Ethereum hackathon in October of 2017, and I briefly met the CryptoKitties team there. It was a hackathon, and they were hacking CryptoKitties, and they happened to win the hackathon with CryptoKitties. Like, yeah, and it blew up right after that, and um, I never had any CryptoKitties. I could have got like the Gen Zeros or whatever they had there, and there was some regret that I didn't bother to get any. So I basically just kept tabs on Dapper and what they were doing, And I want to say maybe 2 years ago, the years are a little bit like, it's not exact, but about 2 years ago, I think they formally said we're doing an NBA collectible. So I signed up to be on the mailing list, and I waited until uh, late July of 2020. So maybe 6 months ago or so, and I finally got my invite, and I joined the closed beta.
So that sounds like pretty much day one for when they were in beta, letting people join. You were there. So what was it like in those early days when those, I guess, first few moments dropped? Was
Yeah.
it
So
were there just packs out there for people to buy?
oh
Like was
yeah,
it
I
just
mean, packs were always available. No one cared about packs. Like that was the
okay?
funny thing. So many packs went unsold because no one wanted to buy them. Um, Interesting enough, I joined. The market didn't exist when I joined. It was basically you could buy a pack and you could go on Discord, try to find someone to trade with, and then you had to do this like dance of trying to trust someone you've never met before with your $20 moment. So I know my video just went blurry. It's really dark right now.
That's all right.
But you had to do this dance of meeting someone on Discord and then doing a trade. And then I think on my second week, they finally opened up the marketplace, and that's where things kind of got crazy because I couldn't stop buying. I basically just I was the largest buyer by far. I think up until the beginning of December, I represented 10% of every single market transaction in the marketplace.
Wow.
I still have something crazy like over 6,000 market buys. And most of those buys were for $1. Like I just kept buying dollar things. So it sounds like I don't get me wrong, I spent a lot of money, but it was like I spent $1 on a lot of things. And because I'm buying $1 LeBron, it's like, how can I go wrong with this? Right? So I just kept buying.
Sure.
So, like, but I'm sure, and here's the funny thing is for the longest time, there was no market, um, the market history that showed what people bought. It didn't exist. You had to go to CryptoSlam, and CryptoSlam was at the time, um, it wasn't really reliable because it was still new too, and so you couldn't really keep track of who was buying what, and there weren't usernames yet, so no one really knew that like I was just buying all the time. And then finally, when the market history came out, it's like, oh yeah, Steve's buying a lot of stuff, right? But like they didn't know before that I bought way more stuff. Like
Oh wow.
it was just insane. It was just insane. I couldn't stop buying, and I'm glad I did. Like in hindsight, it was a great time to buy. But um, yeah,
I'd have to say, yeah, I think you must be pretty happy with that kind of spending spree that you went on, even if it was like $1 per, which yeah, if I'm sure if you believed in the product, then those seemed like no brainers, right? Like that's
yeah,
amazing.
it did. But at the same time, you got to like do a gut check, right? Of like, wait, am I crazy, or is it or is everyone else crazy? Because it seemed like I was the only one buying. So like, wait a minute, like maybe I'm the sucker, right?
Right.
And so you gotta really like
Right.
you gotta do some self-reflection to figure out like, is this digital basketball collectible thing really worth doing? Is it worth me continuously throwing money at? And I think it did work out. Again, these moments were so low value. Just trying to compare that now with buying some of the same moments, like the LeBron, the tribute dunk to Kobe, right? I
Sure.
think I saw some sell yesterday for like well over $10,000, like slow serial numbers, and these were available for like $60 in August, right? And no one
Wow.
bought them. They were just sitting there, like 60, $50. No one wanted to buy these things, and it's just interesting now how many people are interested now that other people have bought them, and there's more interest. It's just a weird thing where I guess there's like this herd mentality of like doing what everyone else is doing, and
I,
sometimes you got to be like the outlier and just do your own thing and then figure it out.
yeah, you have to take risks, right? Otherwise, like yeah, at least you don't have to, but I think it's a smart thing to do. Take some risks once in a while, and I'm sure it sounds like you had some, long looks in the mirror over the course of last year of being like, "Am I crazy doing this?" But I think it's turned out that no, you weren't. And then, so were you an NBA fan before before you learned about CryptoKitties, before you kind of were introduced through what Dapper Labs was doing, and if you were an NBA fan or a sports fan before, who's your team? Who do you root for?
Yeah, so I am 100% like huge NBA nerd. Um,
Okay,
so I'm in Canada. I'm not sure where you are. Whereabouts are you located?
I'm like 40 minutes outside of Boston,
Okay,
so
cool. Yeah,
I'm like Central Mass. Yeah,
yeah, awesome. So, um, interesting enough, being in Canada, like Boston. It's a hockey town too, right? Well, it's a sports town, really.
yeah,
Um, but in Canada, like hockey was very much like the de facto sport. Um, Growing up, like I'm 35 now, and it was just weird being like into basketball in elementary school because no one, like everyone made fun of me basically because I wasn't playing hockey, right?
yeah.
But I love basketball, and like I was so lucky because I got into basketball like in '96, and like so I watched like Jordan and like Kobe when Kobe came in the league, and like I feel very lucky to have gotten in when I did, and I collected basketball cards growing up, and it was a lot of fun. Um, and then I followed the Raptors. Obviously, they're my team,
Sure.
and they won the championship a couple years ago. Like I was at the finals game. I was at Game 6.
Oh
I was
wow.
ready. I was ready to just like you know have a party. We almost closed it out there, and so was it, no, it was Game 5, I think. Yeah, Game 5 was in Toronto. We could have closed it out, but they won it in Game 6 in San Fran or Oakland. Um, but yeah, no, Toronto's my team. But there was a long lull there where I think I wasn't really following the NBA, maybe from like 2005 to 2015, and like I'll blame maybe Vince Carter a little bit because he kind of left a bad taste in my mouth after he left, uh,
Sure. Yeah.
and I just kind of fell out of love with the NBA for a long time. But then after like Kobe's death last year, I started to kind of go through my basketball card collection, and I found out that like, hey, all these Kobe's I have are worth a lot of money because I have a ton of them. So like, and then I just the as timing would have like Top Shot opened their beta, and like it's just interesting. It's been a really interesting 2020 and 2021 for me in basketball again. It's rekindled that like that passion.
Yeah, that's such a cool story. Uh, I've gone through my own kind of ups and downs with how much I'm following basketball in general, but yeah, I mean, having a championship so recently with Toronto, that must have been so great to kind of go through, especially if you were getting back into it. And yeah, I also did the same thing, not in relation to Kobe's passing, but just earlier this, I guess last year, right? Because we're in a new year, but in 2020, in the early days of the pandemic and shutdown, I just heard about the card market like on the rise. Immediately went and found that one box that I know I still had of some cards, and realized I didn't really have anything. Like, what I thought was like cool as a kid and stashed away somewhere, they weren't worth anything. I tried selling a couple things on eBay, minimal at best. So it's funny how things work out.
What'd you have? I gotta ask.
I had a whole set of, and also I think I was like 2 or 3 months early of really hitting up eBay hard trying to get things sold.
Like
But
NBA, you have like NBA hoops. What'd you have?
I had like a full set of, I think it was tops of the 1992 Dream Team. Like every single
Oh,
person who
okay,
was
yeah,
on
the
the
early
team.
'90s stuff. It doesn't get a
I
lot of
think,
love. I think they might have just overprinted it. I don't know what happened.
yeah, I think that's a lot of it too. It seems like there was just like, there's tons of supply on all that stuff. So even though I had like a few Jordans and everybody else who was on that Dream Team and like a full set of it, it didn't really amount to much, right? Um, but that's all good because I've never been super big into collectibles at all, really, or cards even. But I have been a big NBA fan for a while, but I didn't really start watching like a lot of games until I think 2002. The Celtics made. So I'm the same age as you, and Celtics made the Eastern Conference Finals that year. I'm pretty sure, or it was 2003, one of the years, and they lost to the Nets. But that's when I really started. It was like early Paul Pierce years. That's when I
Hmm.
really started getting back into it. And then over the course, pretty much since then, all through, KG run, and to now, I've been, I don't watch as many games as I used to, but I certainly pay pretty close attention to everything
Yeah,
and just the whole league. So
yeah. I mean, your Boston is, again, it's a great sport town. Like, it's just it's a long string of winners, right? Like,
yep.
every year there's some sport that you can cheer for it because they're going to win the title.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of been crazy. We're definitely spoiled, and I don't blame anybody else from outside of New England of just hating on us. Like I would if I wasn't living here, if I wasn't born here. Like it's been just, I mean, obviously I'm a huge Patriots fan too. You can't really not be. I guess depends on your taste, but I love football as much as I do basketball. Those are my two sports. So it's been great here. So what do you think about the huge influx of new users into Top Shot? Like, I'm sure you're someone who's watching the marketplace a lot with your investment and the site that you have.
Yeah.
What has it done to the, like, speak to me a little bit about just the crazy growth of Top Shot in the last 30, 45 days and what that's done to the marketplace, and then how's that affected your site too?
Yeah, well, my site right now can barely keep up. I have to figure out ways that I can, mitigate and try to get everything back online. I'm talking to tech support as I'm doing this as well. But yeah, last 45 days has just been crazy. Ever since Christmas, um, it's been pretty insane. Um, yeah, like, almost, I would say, like, since early January, I felt like the user growth was basically doubling week over week. And I think they onboarded 30,000 or so people in January, maybe more. Um, yeah, so before you didn't have any trouble buying a pack. Now you can't buy a pack. You have to go get a reservation or be on a wait list, and
Right.
or win a lottery to get a pack. And so it's been pretty insane. And yeah, my site can barely keep up in terms of, like, my investment. Like, I mentioned earlier that I bought a bunch of $1 moments when I first joined, because I thought they were really cool, right? And so, um, I'm still a collector at heart. I collect things, like, I have my basketball card collection. So first and foremost, I want to have the best collection, right? And I joined a bit later. Like, I got my invite, even though I joined in August. I got there were people who joined like 2 months prior, so they had
Okay.
access to stuff that I had never had access to. And so I basically had to work with what was given. And so I basically tried to go after, like, the base set and, like, some MGLEs that were affordable to me. And um, so I basically tried to get as much of that as possible, and try to get, like, cool low serial numbers if I can afford them. Number ones if I can afford them, jerseys if I can afford them, last mints if I can afford them. Like, I look for cool things, like cool numbers, like 1 2 3 4, or 420 or 1 3 3 7. Like, I'm after that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Um, but buying it at $1, I guess in the back of my mind, I'm like, hey, maybe I can sell this for $10 in the future, right? I didn't think that a lot of my $1 things I could sell for 500. That thought didn't occur to me. It just seemed outrageous. And so, in that way, I definitely got lucky, um, because I wasn't, like, my educated guess was, like, a 10x, taking $1, turning it into 10.
And you would have been so happy. I mean, most people
Yeah.
would be so happy with 10x. Like,
And
great.
so here's my initial thing too. My strategy kind of going in was, okay, I can't just buy one of everything, right? Because I'll never sell it. As a collector, I'm not going to sell my only base set. It's never going to happen. So I need to buy two of everything, right?
Right.
So I can, like, keep the one I want and then sell the one later, hopefully cover the cost of the first one, and then as I was going, I'm just like, screw it, I'll keep making more. And so I ended up with, like, 7 complete base sets, which I believe is the most anyone has, um, of complete base sets. And then I have 4 complete MGLE sets as well. Um, so yeah, it's gotten pretty crazy. I don't have a complete hollow set, but I've got more than half of one. Um, so yeah, it's been pretty crazy.
That's a crazy collection that you have. As I'm
Yeah.
looking at my, I think I have 20 moments, maybe, maybe one or two more than that. I don't remember the last time I checked. Wow, that's so insane. Yeah, I wish I had found the site around the time you had as well, because obviously things are moving in the right direction. And honestly, unless something major happens that sucks all the momentum out of the room for this product, I don't see it going down anytime soon, right? I
Yeah,
think there's a lot, there's a
there's
lot
still
of
risk though.
opportunity out there. Yeah,
There's still risk. Like I think the
sure.
biggest risk right now, like just some things that come to my mind, is the last week there were a lot of momentum, right? And then as soon as the site has a site issue, right? Like the marketplace goes down, it just kills so much momentum. And the last couple of days, you kind of saw prices tick down in some cases, and I believe that's because you kind of took the air out of the room or whatever, and you slowed things down. And I think if they can't get the engineering challenges out of the way, if they can't solve it, then I think that does hurt the long-term viability of this product. It's a blockchain product. Like it is, it's pitched as something that'll live forever, even if Dapper disappears, right? So think about how crazy that is. Like right now, this thing doesn't even work properly and Dapper exists. So they're selling a promise that in the future, hypothetically, if Dapper disappeared, this thing would still be self-sufficient and work fine, and you'd own your moments forever, and everything would be great. But it doesn't even work right now, and they exist. So, like, they have a long ways to go to bridge that gap between having a product that works, one, and then having a product that works independently of them maintaining it, right? Um,
Sure.
a blockchain product, you shouldn't just be able to turn off the marketplace. Like it's supposed to be decentralized. It's not right now. It's all the wallets, all the wallets are custodial. It's completely centralized, which is fine, right? They're still trying to figure out the bugs and make this thing work, but they have to make it work. If they can't deliver on that at some point in the future, like I'm not saying any time recent, but if they can't deliver on that in a year or 2 years from now, then I think we might be in trouble, right? Um, that said, like I still have full confidence in the product that they'll get there, but that's still a huge risk that might not happen, right? I'm not saying it's a likely risk, but it's still a risk. Like I don't know, is there a 5% chance it might happen? Yeah, maybe 5%, 10. I don't know, maybe 10. Um, but it's still there. So you have to kind of have that in the back of your mind is like, how much money should I be throwing at this product? If it, you know, it's still early.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. And I appreciate you bringing that up because I think a lot of people who are new to the product don't understand kind of some of the challenges that having this many new users come on board at once when they weren't really ready for that. I'm maybe speaking out of turn a little bit because I don't know that for sure, but it feels like maybe they weren't ready for that many new users at once or this much activity at once. But also, you know, the word beta is there. And I, you know, if
They
you
were close. They were close at removing that. They got lucky and they kept it. But
uh,
like,
that, I think that's, yeah, that's lucky because for me, who's just familiar with the what a beta means. Just you know, and all that means for me is just someone who's familiar with gaming and video gaming and understands what a beta means. Just from that perspective alone, understands that there's going to be some issues where I feel like, you know, there are, I'm sure, many new users in the last, you know, 3 weeks that have been turned off because of a poor performing site and
absolutely.
don't understand the word beta, and maybe we're going to make big investments or maybe you just enjoyed it, but never, I guess I should say they never got to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
Those
yeah,
are
it's
yeah,
pretty cool.
all valid. I guess from my perspective, having joined in August, and I've seen so many changes since then. The last few weeks have almost felt like a regression in terms of what has been delivered. Like my pack experience now is the worst that's ever been, and there were some really bad pack drops early on too, when they just kind of like even though the people weren't buying as much, there were still some issues with buying, and uh, so it's they got to get these things straightened out. And I think there are a lot of quick wins that they need to go after. I've sent some messages to some of the dev team to maybe help with some performance issues. But I mean, they have to. I think they are taking it seriously, but I think the next 2 weeks will be very, very telling.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they'd be crazy not to be taken super seriously at this point. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. I'm certainly, like you said, I think the risk level on it not coming back and when working in the long term is feels low, feels on the low end, but we don't know for sure. Um, Hey everybody, it's Matt again. So that was the first part of my chat with Steve. So we're going to follow it up in a couple days. Look for part two, where we're actually going to bring up the site. We were having some site issues at the time when we filmed the first part, so we weren't able to kind of dig into the intangible marketplace site and talk a little bit more about the details and how things work. So that's coming soon. So please check the notes down below on the video. I'm going to have all the moments listed out. There's a link to my Twitter. There's a link to Steve's Twitter, the Intangible Marketplace site. It's all going to be there. So check it out. And that's all for me for now. I'm going to keep going back to refreshing that pack page and see if something drops tonight. See ya.